I froze at the bedroom door as I watched my husband James devouring our maid in a heat of passion on the very sheets I bought for us. Just as I was about to kick the door down and tear them apart, a cold, bony hand clamped onto my wrist and violently jerked me back into the shadows. It was my mother, her eyes chillingly calm as she whispered, "Don't waste a scene on a cheap betrayal tomorrow, I'll show you a real performance." That night New York did not look like the vibrant and romantic city people usually praise. It was wrapped in a heavy dark cloak, soaked and gloomy. A sudden early summer downpour had fallen with force and almost with fury. Cold gusts of water savagely hit the windows of a luxury mansion in a quiet high-class residential neighborhood. My name is Isabella. Sitting in the back seat of the car with my head leaning against the glass, I felt exhausted as I watched the long threads of rain falling like tears. An urgent business trip to Chicago had ended earlier than expected. Longing for my husband and the warmth of my home, I took a night flight back to New York without warning. I wanted to give him a little surprise. My husband James would probably be working in his office at this hour, or perhaps he had already fallen asleep. Thinking of his attractive face, his warm smile, and his strong arms, a sweet sensation slid gently into my weary heart. 10 years. We had spent 10 years together. Since I was a recent graduate and a strange new employee at the company my father ran, he was already a competent sales team leader. Our love culminated in a happy marriage, a story our friends considered a fairy tale. James was not only a perfect husband, but also the solid right hand who took the entire weight of the giant Solis construction group on his shoulders after my father passed away suddenly. To me he was my whole world, my sky, the only pillar I could lean on. The taxi stopped in front of the familiar wrought iron gate. With a slight smile I paid the driver, and careful not to make a noise, I opened the gate. The entire mansion was plunged into darkness, except for a dim yellow light filtering from the living room. My mother, Mrs. Catherine, would probably be sleeping. She had the habit of always leaving a light on for those who arrived late. Our master bedroom on the second floor was dark. My heart, which was overflowing with expectation, felt a little disappointed. He is surely fast asleep, I thought. I cautiously climbed the wooden steps, my heart beating with anticipation. My plan was to sneak into the room, hug him from behind, and give him a surprise kiss. But just as my hand touched the cold doorknob of the bedroom door, a strange restlessness took hold of me. The door was not locked, and through the crack sounds filtered from inside, sounds I could never forget. They were not the rhythmic snores of James. They were muffled moans, harsh breaths loaded with lust, and the explicit sound of flesh hitting flesh. Disgust. My heart felt as if an invisible hand were squeezing it, and the blood in my entire body seemed to freeze. I began to tremble, not from cold, but because a ghastly truth like a horrible monster was slowly revealing itself. Through the narrow crack, the dim light of a bedside lamp illuminated our double bed. And right there in the bed where I slept every night on the white sheets I had chosen, myself, two bodies were intertwined. Although I could only see his back, the man of familiar and robust build was my husband James, and the woman lying under him with her long hair spread out was none other than Lucy, the 20-year-old girl I had brought from an employment agency and whom I loved like a little sister. I felt the world collapsing around me as if all the air were sucked out of my chest. My ears went deaf, and I could only hear the beating of my heart thumping like war drums. Pain and intensity so great I felt my heart splitting in two. It was as if thousands of needles were simultaneously stabbing my bleeding heart. The betrayal came from the man I loved most, and from the young woman I had cared for with all my being. Lucy's innocent smile, her naive appearance, and the sweet words of love James whispered to me every morning resurfaced in my mind like a silent movie loaded with irony. It was a clumsy play of which only I, the stupid one, had not realized. Jealousy and anger exploded in me like a volcano. I wanted to run in, I wanted to scream, I wanted to tear those two despicable beings to pieces. My hands clenched into fists. My nails dug into my flesh until they bled. I was about to lose control. I had to catch him red-handed and show the whole world their true faces. But just at the moment I was going to kick the door open, a strangely warm but firm hand grabbed my wrist and pulled me back. I turned startled. It was my mother. How long had Mrs. Catherine been there? Dressed in silk pajamas, my mother's benevolent face seemed eerily calm under the dim light. Her eyes were not looking at me, but were fixed deeply on the crack in the door where the sordid scene continued. In her gaze, instead of surprise or the same pain I felt, I saw a coldness as sharp and cutting as a razor blade. She put her index finger to her lips, signaling me to keep quiet, and then leaned into my ear. Her voice was a whisper, but every word was clear and firm like an unbreakable order. Calm down, I already knew everything. Do not make a scene now. Come with me to my room. Tomorrow I have a very fun show to show you. Her words were like a jug of cold water over my crazed head. A fun show. In this boiling moment, when my heart was shattered, how could my mother think of a fun show? But her hand squeezed mine tightly, transmitting a silent strength that forced me to obey. She silently led me out of that sinful hallway, while the obscene sounds continued to echo behind me. Every step was a stab in my soul. That night, lying in bed in my mother's room, I stared at the ceiling. She said nothing more. She simply prepared a cup of chamomile tea and sat by my side. Her warm hand gently stroked my hair, but my mind was a hell. What show was she talking about? Why was she so calm? And would I be strong enough to play the role of the ignorant wife until the curtain of this secret fell? Dear listeners, the betrayal of the person you share a bed with is perhaps the greatest pain a woman can experience. But sometimes behind a tragedy another story begins, a story of hidden strength, of wisdom, and of a revenge calculated to the smallest detail.